Welcome to LabTech Software Templates Training. In LabTech, templates are responsible for controlling the appearance and behavior of the agent software that is installed on machines that are being controlled by LabTech. In this lesson, we will look at templates and some of the functionality that they control. Here in the Control Center, left-click to expand Admin in the navigation tree. Left-click to expand Templates. To edit a template, you can double-click on it or right-click and select Modify. The landing page when you are modifying the template is the Agent Settings tab. The Agent Settings tab contains the server address. You want to make the server address always be the fully qualified domain name of your LabTech server. To edit this field, you need to put a check in the Enable checkbox. And I have entered the fictional fully qualified domain name of my LabTech test server. Another feature you may choose to set here on the Agent Settings tab is if we put a check in the Enable checkbox for Windows updates, we can specify how do we want the agents to behave for Windows updates. In the drop-down, you may choose to set the Windows updates to download only, disable Windows Update, or perhaps even LabTech mode. Notice how here at the bottom of the screen we have another checkbox to turn on Agent Debug Logging. Notice how the checkbox is currently filled in. Let's reference this note here below the window that says checkboxes that are filled in are disabled and will not apply to the agents. If we click once in this checkbox, it is totally empty, and if we click again, we have an active check mark. So now we have enabled Agent Debug Logging. That can be useful if you're trying to troubleshoot some agents that appear to be having problems. Let's go now to the Schedules tab. The Schedules tab controls how often data is being sent from the agents to LabTech by using one of the built-in schedules. This is our laptop's template, and it is currently using our laptop's schedule. Let's click Edit to take a look at the laptop's schedule. This screen displays how often the agent is sending certain types of information to the LabTech database. For example, Update Configuration is where we're updating changes made in the template to configure the remote agents. You can see how often we're sending hardware, software, event logs, and notice this one for service and service status inventory. This one is key as one of the most commonly used LabTech internal monitors is the Auto Services Stopped monitor. Right now, we're only sending service status once a day at 6 a.m. and it's not repeating. That means if you have an internal monitor that may be running every hour to monitor services being sent from an agent, but these services are not getting updated, then the monitor is only monitoring data that's as much as 23 hours old. So if we modify this to say, let's repeat the service status every hour and save that, that makes it a much more useful internal monitor because it is monitoring data that is much more current. Also here on the Schedules tab is another important feature, and that is your Hotfix install window. Here is where we're telling LabTech at what time do we want to install hotfixes that have been approved within LabTech. So I'll go ahead and specify a day, the time we want it to be installed, and the duration of time for which we will allow installations. Notice we also have a Hotfix Reboot window. If you want LabTech to be able to reboot the machines, the day, time, and our window must match exactly what you have set for the Hotfix install window. If these values do not match, LabTech will never reboot after installing a hotfix. Here on the Folders and Cache tab, you can specify a cache directory that LabTech can use. You want to specify the cache directory in a UNC path format. If this is a UNC path that the currently logged in users on the agents might not have access to, we can enable the username and password field and specify an account that will have access to the cache directory. Once we have specified a cache directory, we can click to make that an active checkbox, and we can have LabTech cache Windows updates and even server downloads to that cache directory. The benefit here is that any machine that goes to download the Windows update or the LabTech server download after the first machine has downloaded the update from the internet or the download from the LabTech server, has copied that file to the cache directory, then any machine after that will be able to get this update or download from the cache directory rather than from the internet. Some other useful features within a template are branding. Here we can specify the tray text that shows over the LabTech tray icon. We can specify the name of the LabTech service that runs in Windows Services. We can choose whether or not to show the icon in the tray, and we can also provide a custom tray icon. The Access Modes tab controls how LabTech is going to behave when you perform certain actions. For Reboot, we can choose Now, or if we enable this, some of our options are Ask the end user if we can reboot and respect their answer, Ask then Allow. Ask the user if we can reboot, and if they don't answer in a certain period of time, go ahead and reboot anyways. Ask then Deny. Ask the user if we can reboot, and if they don't answer yes, do not reboot. The VNC mode can be customized to be silent, or also ask then allow, and ask then deny when you're trying to use LabVNC to take control of a machine. Another one you may choose is screenshots. Do we want to ask the user when we're trying to take a screenshot? Or do we just want to leave it in Now mode and take the screenshot as soon as we've requested it? We have a checkbox down here to prevent the user from being able to close the system tray icon, and another one here to prevent them from being able to disable VNC. On the Tray Menus tab, we can customize the menus that appear when you right-click on the tray icon on an agent machine. We can specify a custom URL. We can specify what directory they will get taken to if they click on Help. Another tab we will take a look at is the Service Tickets tab. The Show Service Ticket menu controls whether or not a user will have the option to create a service ticket from their LabTech tray icon. The Ticket URL Override can have tickets created from that menu go to a different URL rather than simply sending a ticket to LabTech. If LabTech tickets are being created, we can also specify the title, the from address, and the subject of tickets that get created when the user says Create Service Ticket from their tray icon. This concludes LabTech Templates training.